Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Count Von Blake, here with Ferris. And Ron.
It's happening.
That is right. Tonight we are going to talk about some spooky happenings in the Premier League. Mostly spooky for Blake. As we talk about Liverpool staying atop of the Premier League after beating a surging Chelsea 2-1 at Anfield. It was boos for the Blues. Arsenal see red once again as they lose their first of the season in a 2-0 defeat to Bournemouth. Cherries. Then we'll cover the rest of Premier League action from match week in our spooky 2-minute drills. And maybe we've got 2 coming your way. Then we'll blow the halftime whistle as the never offside Jackson of the Jumbo Shrimp, leader of the Nicholas Van Club, Ron, shares with us all the news that's fit to drink, but not as good as blood, in yet another edition of Ron's Beer News. Then it is the Premier League. But first we'll talk LaLeagueA's roundup. Oh no! Was that Belmont from Castlevania? I got scared for a moment. There's a reference for you, Kanomi. We'll do a little of this, a little of that, as we go for the soccer globe with a second dose. Yes, a second dose of our 2-minute drill. This would be the second 2-minute drill I taught. We have 1 2-minute drill. 2 2-minute drills. 2 2-minute drills. But first, our beer. We each have 2. 4 beers. You guys ready to do the pod?
Man,
That was quite the intro.
That Count LaLeagueA does a fantastic job each time around this time.
Why didn't I call myself Count Blakula? That's good.
LaLeagueA, yeah.
That's good. It's time to get this guy out.
What you got?
On that note, wait, something has come, risen from the grave. A friend born in 1994, not 44. That would be a very bad beer to drink. But you know it. You love it. It's a classic, but I've never had it in one of these cans. It is the Dogfish Head Pumpkin Ale. With sweet canard this year. It is a full-bodied brown ale brewed with real pumpkin, brown sugar, allspice, nutmeg, and cinnamon. Enjoy smooth pumpkin and fall spices. I do love to say brew like this. Your turn.
I love it. Oh, man. We're going to stick with the Halloween theme. Unfortunately, I can't do that good of a count.
You could try.
I can. My extent is like English accents. That's about it. I'm done after that.
Are we sure that that's what we would call? That's what you're good at?
No, that's fair enough. Anyways, we're not gonna do a pumpkin. But we're gonna do an Oktoberfest. And this out of St. Pete. We're gonna kind of give some love to that area. This was a beer. That area has gotten hit a lot here in the past few weeks with just hurricane after hurricane. But the last time I went home before the latest one, I start driving. I'm there at the house. I was with my mom. I worked on cleaning up her room, and we went out to lunch. Came back and kind of helped her out with a few odd things around there. And I get in my car. I'm starting to drive back to Orlando from Clearwater, and she goes, "Hey, wait!" I'm like, "Is everything okay?" She goes, "I forgot. I bought you an Oktoberfest 6-pack. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm turning around." So this is courtesy of Ma Dukes, Three Daughters Brewing, which we've had on the pod before, from St. Pete. It's an Oktoberfest Marzen. On their website, it's 3dbrewing.com. And it's an Oktoberfest classic. This medium-bodied amber lager delivers rich caramel maltiness up front and finishes smooth and crisp thanks to its traditional noble hops. A standout in technique and drinkability, it proves that craft beer can be both distinct and well-balanced. Again, it's a lager amber, 5.1% on the ABV. IBU is 26, and it is a part of their small batch series that you can get in cans.
I love Three Daughters. They have so many good beers.
Always quality. Never had a bad one.
Not at all. So, and I have not had their Oktoberfest one before, so I was quite surprised that Mom found it and was like, "Oh, been thinking of you when I got it." I was like, "Thank you."
I think my favorite of theirs is the Bimini Twist.
That's a great name.
Yeah, the Bimini Twist. It's
I've had that one before.
if I'm not mistaken, it's blonde ale.
All right, gentlemen, shall we try these beers?
Let's do it.
I've definitely never not had this out of the bottle. Remember, it was like a big deal, like that time that whatever messed up at Dogfish and they gave away their 6 packs of these to their employees back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And it made such a huge deal.
All right.
Cheers.
Cilantro.
Happy Halloween.
Booze to you.
That's pretty good.
That there's
That is very-
mighty tasty.
A little more crisp than your traditional Marzen.
Yeah, it's not so much that it's not so much that it's that traditional Marzen. It's definitely that amber lager more coming into it with just a bit more of the maltiness caramel that brings that Marzen into play.
Quite good.
Yeah, very
Quite
good.
tasty.
This is it's been a while since I've had the pumpkin ale. I've had so many different kind of pumpkin beers. You know, this is like I don't know, probably the first, flagship. Totally, it's like the first one I've ever had. You know, I think I forgot how good it was because some people made pumpkin beers and we got some that were like kind of too sweet and stuff, and then we really got hooked on pumpkin from Southern Tier, and that one's like solid. This is like a more drinkable version. Not that Southern Tier isn't, but like while this still has a bit of that like fall dessertiness, you feel like you could crush a couple of these. Also, shout out if you get a chance and you find the pumpkin caramel version, the salted caramel version or whatever it is, get it. Yeah, we got it, and they lined the rim of the glass. They poured it in with cinnamon and sugar. It was flipping amazing. So good.
Ooh, awesome.
Oh, all right. Gentlemen, shall we move on to the Premier League?
Let's do it.
Be rude if we don't.
All right, here we go. It only took 26 minutes for a yellow card for manager Arne Slot as Liverpool 2, Chelsea 1. But shortly after that, his squad got off the mark when who else but Mo Salah converted a penalty just before the half, an hour mark. Liverpool thought they had a second just before half, of VAR intervention correctly judged the Roberto Sanchez got all ball when he came out to challenge Curtis Jones in the box. That name would come back to haunt in the second half, but not before the never offside Nicholas Jackson got the equalizer in the 48th minute, overturned for his 5th goal of the campaign, but only 3 minutes later, that name, Curtis Jones, comes back around as he nets the match winner like a stake through the heart. So 2-1 it ended. And gentlemen, what do you think of the start for Arne Slot's reign at Liverpool? Is the ghost of Jurgen Klopp still haunting?
I don't know if it's haunting, but it's certainly not. It's not quickly being forgotten by Liverpool fans, but they are A-OK with Slot being in there. I saw 2 Liverpool fans today at work, and saw Tony, and then I saw Horn, Mr. Horn, and just, hey, you guys, happy with Slot, and both, longtime fans, and absolutely how he's come in and with the weight of coming into that role following somebody like Klopp. And as we had to talk, and it's like, Klopp didn't leave Liverpool in a bad state, right? Yes, you have some people that are on last year of contracts with Salah and Van Dijk, but you still have a great core there. You have those players this year. You have those players to ride into this season with experience and a core of Allison and net. I know he didn't play in this one, but with him and net, Van Dyke, you have a solid midfield based on that new look that Klopp brought in last year, and then you still have your attacking front that is all there. So there's still a really good core there, and what Slot's done is implemented his style, getting the best out of that team. It's been very flawless so far. And they sit atop of the Premier League, only 1 point ahead, and they have a bit of a rough stretch coming up. They played Chelsea at home this time. I believe they go away to Arsenal on Saturday or Sunday, and we'll see how they kind of get on the other end of that. But if they can keep pace, yeah, they're a scary team.
Go ahead, Ron.
I think like you're saying, Slot's job's made easier because of the core that's been left there. And I really don't think that Slot's really had that much to do other than instill what seems like patience in the team, right? Instead of Klopp was very much attack, right? Everything was to get the ball forward, create your chances. This one is a much more patient build up. Find your opportunities and take advantage of those opportunities. So, I mean, I don't mean to make light of what he's accomplishing there, but he doesn't have a particularly difficult job with the team that's there, right? I think the hardest part is getting them to be patient after
go.
Right. Especially people like Salah, because remember in the Sané days, the two of them would just fly.
High flying up the pitch, yeah.
Chelsea, I thought, actually played well for quite a few stretches in the match. They just weren't able to take advantage of the opportunities that came to them.
Nicholas Jackson did.
Yep, he did.
Yeah, he did.
He's slowly getting better. I'm still not on his side of the board yet.
By the end of the year,
we'll see.
He'll be your Dalot.
But they played very well for large stretches. I think one of the things is that Trent Alexander-Arnold was absolutely dynamite on their right side. He was shutting us down left and right. And interestingly, Maresca, who typically likes overload, did not overload the wings. It was Reece James' first game back.
Which was surprising for me.
Yeah.
First game in almost a year, and you start him in this game on the road at Anfield.
Yeah. So there was a bit of slowdown there. We were also missing 3 players due to yellow card accumulation. So our defense wasn't quite what it normally is. But all in all, I think with the team we fielded, we actually did a really good job. And even though it was a loss, I don't feel like it was a typical of last year giveaway where we couldn't compete for a straight 90 minutes. So there's hope. We picked up a couple of, yellow cards in this, and could have. We're the Premier League's most carded team. Maresca also doesn't seem to care about that in press conferences, because when they ask him, how are we taking care of the discipline problem? He says, "What discipline problem?" So,
I mean, but you guys really haven't had anybody sent off yet, which we'll get to here in a bit. So I don't know if there's a discipline problem necessarily at Chelsea, but also if you discipline problem with 76 players, only about half of them have a disciplinary problem. You still field another, 2 teams that don't. So you're going to be okay.
Yeah, you got plenty of people to cover.
Well, the hard part is, would we have competed better if we had 2 of our starting defenders who were out because of yellow card accumulation and 1 midfielder who was out because of yellow card accumulation? That is where the where this lack of discipline is going to hurt us, because we're going to have, in this game, multiple starters out for yellow card accumulation for stupid things.
Yeah, I mean, it could have, right? You have those players in. The game was tight enough that it could have made that that difference. You had you had 9 total shots by Liverpool, 12 by Chelsea. Expected goals were expected goals, right? Big chances you both had. You both had 3. I mean, all the shots on target hit woodwork. Shots inside the box, all to Chelsea. Pretty split on your accurate passes and all of that.
But the giveaway goal was a massive defensive error, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's so all the stats can be aligned, but if the defense gives up the goal, doesn't matter.
But you saw this in the last game, or the game before that with the Wolves, where Palmer scored his 4. The 2 goals that were scored by Wolves were Sanchez trying to play it out of the back and back passes to him, and that was just really bad turnovers. So yeah, you're right. They don't clean that up, and they're gonna have to do what they did against Wolves and just hope they outscore the other team, because those anytime you give those up in a league like this, they're gonna make you pay for it, especially when they're that easy of a giveaway.
Yeah.
Do you think could this be a season? Is Arnie that good? Or is he smart enough to not mess too much with the formula? And we don't really know what his Arnie ball is going to be for another, maybe next season when you start getting some players out, getting some new players in. Does that make sense?
I think you're going to see him put to the test if his squad can't stay healthy.
Which right now he's a perfectly fit squad.
Right. If they can't stay healthy and he's having to do, kind of patchwork a team together, that's, I think, when you're going to see it this year. And then I agree to an extent that once they start kind of dismantling what was there over time, you'll get to see how he builds a team.
Yeah, and that's for seasons to come. It's not necessarily going to happen by the end of this season. For this season, I think it's going through what we're going to go through here after the November transfer window, and when those games during the holiday season come quick and fast, because Liverpool haven't necessarily, they've been solid, they've been good. Besides, like Man United, they haven't had a hard schedule,
right?
And they haven't played necessarily teams completely off the pitch. They didn't play Chelsea completely off the pitch here. On any other day, this could be 2-1 going the opposite way. So it's going through that long stretch of games and those back-to-backs when they come quickly, will that consistency of the wins and the draws continue with what Slot is doing? You can certainly see there's a good foundation there. They're certainly together in how they play. But is that, they're going to go out and score 3 goals every game or 2 goals every game like under Klopp? That's not there. They might win 2-1. They might win 1-0 as they did Palace the game before this.
Right.
Can he keep that going to continually get them over the line in that? And I think that's really going to be, we're going to see a lot more of that come those December festive period when there's a lot of games going fast.
Does that wrap up Liverpool and Chelsea?
I think so.
All right, gentlemen. Then let us move on to the spooky spookies. Bournemouth 2, Arsenal 0. Like a steak with garlic butter through the heart. Now I am hungry. Good. Ron is leaving to take care of his little baby, so he cannot be here for Arsenal talk. That makes me happy. I also just became very Russian.
Yes, you did.
The dark hearts of Arsenal once again caught up with him as this season. Let's try that again. The dark hearts of Arsenal once again caught up with them this season, as this time it was center back William Saliba, who was sent off seeing red in the 30th minute after it was deemed by VAR that he was the last defender who denied Evanilson, thank you, of a goal scoring opportunity just past the halfway mark. Arsenal then held on with a man down for 40 minutes before a set piece play off the training ground, But this time it was Bournemouth with a sweet corner play to put them ahead via a furious strike by Ryan Christie, who was subbed on minutes earlier. Then minutes later, a David Raya foul in the box was a no-doubter pin as Justin Clevier converted. I know it's Kluvert, but I like saying Clevier. Converted from the spot to make it 2-0, and that's how it ended, as did Arsenal's unbeaten run on the road for almost a year. With 3 red cards in 8 matches, is there a lack of discipline problem at Arsenal? Ron has just returned, so maybe I'll read that question again.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So I
read that again.
That question.
Good question. Yeah.
Yeah. With 3 red cards in 8 matches, is there a lack of discipline problem with Arsenal?
No.
That was great. Both of your face reactions were.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I think
Yeah.
it almost seems like Arteta's antics from this first season he was head coach have kind of, gone a little bit away in the past few seasons, but it's slowly gone to his club. But I don't think they're preventative. Rice getting sent off for that extra kick. He doesn't kick that ball. He's not getting sent off. It was just a little bit of a tap from.
We still have not seen a yellow for a time wasting that was that small.
Right, but it was back to back on how that occurred, and then
Trossard.
Trossard getting sent in the Man
City match,
City game for pretty much the same thing, and that foul. And then in this, honestly, Trossard's probably the most to blame in terms of that ball playing back. What is he doing? It's like a 20, 30-yard playback to the defenders who are already moving up the pitch. And this one was weird because it was a denial of a goal-scoring opportunity from almost the halfway line. But what I look at and what you look at in these things is the players' reactions to them. And Saliba's face, as soon as he made that foul on Evan Nielsen, he knew it. He knew it was going to be sent. And in fairness, so was Arteta's face. He didn't argue it a whole lot. The rest of the team just kind of knew it was going to be a sending off. It was initially called a yellow. Ball gets played back to, if you're going to play it back to your defender, but it's like a 20-yard ball. But Saliba's already up the pitch, and the attacker's behind Saliba. So Saliba has to turn around. And another telling thing of this is Ryan goal started started not to come out for the ball. Like if you're going to cut off the attacker early, he backed up expecting that, oh man, this is about to be a breakaway. And he grabbed, Nielsen, Nielsen, and fouled him. Something similar in the Chelsea game actually happened early on with the challenge. However, I think the difference with this is the positioning of where the defenders were in the passage of play that it led to. Yeah. This wasn't a passage of play with just a ball over the top to the attacker. This was a nonchalant playback pass that then Saliba was so out of position for, because in fairness, he's not expecting that ball to be played back and having to recover in an absolute deliberate pull down where the speedy attacker was going to be in one-on-one. So that's what they went to VAR for, and that's what was overturned to a red. And again, you didn't get a whole lot of argument from Saliba on that, nor did you, Arteta and team. So I don't know if it's a discipline problem. It's a lot of talk this week that that's the case, but it's certainly 3 red cards in 8 matches. Not good.
I mean, it's certainly not good for 3 red cards in 8 matches, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know that you call what's going on there, especially this red card against Bournemouth it's a very tactical foul.
They're based off a very poor back pass.
Right. So I don't think you can say that this was a disciplinary problem. Right. I mean, the other ones were cynical, kick the ball away, and it was happened to be their second yellows for, other fouls for their first yellows. So I don't know that it's a disciplinary problem. I think people just like picking on Arsenal.
Well, I was gonna say there's I managed to pull a stat here. So yellow cards. Trying to look at the number here. The numbers are small with the red cards, so a lot of times yellow cards you end up looking at the breadth of how many you get of those. And for Arsenal, Yellow cards, Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal are equal on 18 yellow cards, and there are only 5 clubs who have fewer.
And they're all top of the table.
They're all top of the table. Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Chelsea has 30.
So
how many games into the season are we?
Yeah. So it doesn't sound like a discipline problem. I mean, like, you can say, yeah, but 3 of those are reds, and I don't know if that Rice one had not been called a yellow, no one would complain. You know what I mean? Like, because it wasn't a hefty kick. The Trossard one, pretty dumb. I think this one is so far away. It gets a yellow and a card, and people go, man, that could have been. It's one of those that either call it got is right. Did that just make sense? Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's because it was overturned, so it's not one. I don't think if it was called red on the field that it would have been overturned. Again, the player's reaction.
No, what I mean is
the
like
one that fouled it.
From no VAR, right? That's what I'm saying, right? Like,
right.
Like if it just gets a yellow and a foul, like, because I know Pigma, one of the distinctions of a goal denying opportunity is also placement on the field, and
yeah, but because it was given a yellow on the field, and then VAR intervened and said, "Hey, go over and look at it." It didn't take that head ref to go over and look at the monitor very long to determine that it was a red. And again, it wasn't a surprise when Saliba got sent. He didn't throw a big fit, nor did Arteta. It was like the players just knew it. I just had that kind of feeling when I was watching the game at home doing something else, but had the game with no sound on. So that's why I'm saying that a lot, because that's what I watched when this kind of thing occurred. And then there's some text flying around, in our chat on that. And then that's when I kind of about halfway through or shortly thereafter then turned up the volume on it. But it's something that Arsenal this year, between that and losing players because of those red cards in games, and then the injury front is catching up with our Arsenal for a little bit. No Saka in this game. Odegaard's still out. Those are 2 big playmakers and stuff, and that's what Liverpool in the past have kind of experienced. That's what Man City has experienced a little bit last year, and then certainly so far with Rodri, this year, starting to get a little bit that a lot of games and a tradition and injuries to that. It's how are Arsenal going to continue? First loss of the season, first road loss of the season. They have Liverpool coming there. This, with no Saliba,
no Odegaard,
Saka maybe. So it's
this rolls.
How Arsenal bounce back.
No Odegaard, no Saka, no Saliba. I mean, they'll win like 3-0. And we'll have lost to Bournemouth 2-0. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
That's the kind of crap that, or some wild, well fought draw or something. You're just like, but hey, that is the first loss in 6 months.
It dates back to, I don't know. I can't quite.
A bit.
Yeah, it's been a while on the road. Remember, they lost to Aston Villa late in the last season, but that was at home. That was at the Emirates. Especially on the road. They haven't lost in the Premier League in a very, very long time.
Well, no, so 6 months. That would include that Villa. It's November. It's almost November.
Oh, since that loss.
Yeah.
But I'm specifically about on the road.
Yeah, sure.
Further than that. It's been almost a year or a little bit over a year.
Well, I guess we'll probably get into. Well, we'll get into this when we do our 2-minute drill. I had a question, but it involved another club. But before we get too far, I'm kind of with you guys. If they had more yellow cards, I think maybe it is wild that those 3 teams are on the top 10 or top 4 though, that have the 18 apiece. But hey, they are disciplined. William Saliba and Arteta didn't say a word afterwards.
Right.
Just walked
Well,
off the pitch.
I think Arteta has learned, because the press conference pretty much like, that was the call. Yeah, he kept like, that was the call. That was the call. we lost. It's been a different vibe this year from him, and even towards the end of last season. But you can tell he's been fined a few different times and takes note of that going into into those post pressers afterwards.
He's gonna grill some sausages in the backyard with his kid and not even think twice about it. They got this. Shall we move on to our 2-minute drill, gentlemen?
Why not?
Let's do it.
All right. Hold on. I have to find my buttons. Which I'm trying to get better at not playing the wrong one. All right.
So for those of you like, well, why is he trying to find buttons? Because we do a sound effect to kind of let us know the end of the 2 minutes, and it's a party theme.
Yeah. And then Blake thought, hey, there's plenty of time. He should do a second podcast. And he's been doing a second podcast. And it's messing up the template in my own brain has been broken. Now it's what I've done, where I second guess where everything is now. All right, let's do this. First in our 2-minute drill, we got Ron.
Tottenham run rampant in the second half, putting 4 past West Ham as Mohamed Kudus face slaps half that amount in a late scuffle in which he eventually sees red. 2 KOs by Kudus, but the fight ultimately won hands down by the Spurs.
I was perplexed that they even had to go to VAR to send him off for that. He literally put hands to one person's face that the ref was looking at, but then 2 moments later.
The funniest thing about that whole scuffle, I mean, there's really not much to talk about the game, right? West Ham didn't put up much of a fight.
Terrible. I mean, they scored. He was their goal scorer. Like he just scored in the 7th minute or something like that, and second half it was all Tottenham.
The amount of Tottenham players that went down in that fight looked like that guy at the bowling alley who, throws this massive spinning ball 12 feet in the air. It thuds loudly onto the alley and then scatters the pins, but there are 2 left standing.
Can someone get a red for their hands on the person, but then the other person still get a yellow for simulation in the way that they went down? Because it looked like
Vanderveer looked like he just got shot by a sniper. Exactly. He went down like a sack of bricks.
It looked like
a blonde striker guy. Brazilian. Oh, my God.
Richarlison?
Thank you. Richarlison.
Was he the second one?
He was the second person to drop, and he went down like he was obliterated.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, I get it. You're trying to. I mean, the second person didn't go down. He was a part of it. The second person stayed up. But it's like you don't have to get that. You don't. I don't know. You have to
He's the second person to fall on the ground. Richarlison was.
Yes, because there was 2 of them that fell. Yes,
right. He was the second one.
Second face slap. The person was still standing up. Yeah.
And the ref almost gets a knee blown out because. When Richarlison falls down, he goes into his leg, and I was like, "This." The only thing I could hear in this was the Benny Hill theme.
Yeah,
right. That's all I could hear when this whole thing was going on.
And even because the ref sees all this and just gives a yellow here and yellow here, and the VR is like, you might want to have a look at that. Your boy just face palmed 2 folks, hands to face,
yeah.
You should probably send him off. And it did not take long in the VR. And then he came out and then he was sent.
It's just, though, the way they fell, you're like, you didn't even need to do that.
Nope.
And so then it just made it was one of those moments of like, oh, guys, this is why people in America don't all take soccer seriously. Please stop. Yes. It looked like the WWE when the storyline is they're supposed to get slapped and knocked out, but the fake hit landed poorly, but the guy still goes down anyway.
Yeah, or forgets that he's supposed to slap him.
Yeah, it barely works, and they do that thing where they fall and then they fish, out of the water, flop around it was just the worst slap they ever had in their life.
Oh God, it was so bad.
Late red cards in this one as well. It was a day of reds, y'all.
It was a lot of reds.
But Aston Villa put up a triple on Fulham at Craven Cottage after they fell behind early to another Jimenez goal. Villa in 4th. Tied on points with Arsenal. Sustainable for them?
Villa look okay, man.
I think so.
What's weird in this? Fulham had the better expected goals, though. So they won that. They won that round.
Yes, they did.
A meaningless stat.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
It was 3-1, yet they won the expected goals 1.78 to 1.68. Figure that out.
Villa, I'm not gonna, not to upset our Villa fans who are on here, but I feel like they do fight back a lot, which is good, right? You fight back and you still win. I think that's my only question. Top
Is it
six
sustainable in that?
Yeah. Top six, I feel like without a doubt. That top four, that's going to be hard. Now, that being said, there are times, look, Man City barely pulled it out, that I'm like, does anyone want to win this league? That was what I was thinking between Chelsea and then Arsenal. And you're like, are they really going to draw? I don't know. And I don't know if that's sustainable yet. I can't quite tell, because they do have to scrap back so much, and that'll wear you down after a while.
Champions League, which I think they won.
They're top of the table.
They're top of the table. Yeah, we'll get to that. But
which is weird.
Are both of those sustainable?
Yeah, probably not. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Unai Emery, I think, is a really good manager for the Champions League, and you could see Villa crash out of the top six, but they might do pretty well in the Champions League.
He's a good league manager as well.
Yeah. Well, no, not knocking at all. He is a good league manager.
Mm-hmm.
I just mean, you see him using that team very well to what he has to his advantage in those Champions League matches.
Manchester United get a much-needed win and score a few as they come from behind in the second half to beat Brentford 2-1 at Old Trafford. No Fergie in the stands. Dry blood everywhere. And a winning chip. It was a heck of a day there at Old Trafford.
Dry blood is the worst.
To give you the no Fergie thing, news came out earlier that week that NEOS ended the deal they had with Sir Alex in an ambassadorial role. I'm saying that right, where he was being paid $2 million a year to be an ambassador, go to the games, and that sort of thing. So they're trying to cost save and do that sort of thing. Tickets, and apparently it was done amicably, and they both kind of did their own way.
Whatever. You cannot tell me that you couldn't come to Fergie and be like, "Hey, man, we're trying to be fiscally responsible, but you're a god here. Like, can we just we'd love to still call you the it's just a hefty price for us. Like, you know what I'm saying?"
And that may be the deal, right? I'm sure you'll see him again at Old Trafford. Yeah. I don't know what the extent of that deal is. They're just not paying him that $2 million. Whether or not they're saying, "Hey, you have a lifetime pass," which I would certainly hope so, to come and see any game you want and be that ambassador for us. You're going to be a lifelong ambassador until the day you die, well after the day you die, because of what he's done for the club. But he also came out so negatively, and I don't think it was quite that way. I'm sure they talked to him and he was okay with it and yada yada yada. But
there was also an added to the ambassador kind of role. There was a large consultancy portion of that, which I think is more what was ending rather than kind of the ambassador.
Right. And not for nothing, the consultancy hasn't really done well in the past several years. So, and it was mainly Jose that wanted him back in that role, because he didn't want to be there with the first two managers after he left. But anyways,
I think Jose knew that was his shot at getting anything done with the owners, was if Sir Alex is there, right? So I don't know.
It's not a bad shout at all, right? To do that, but I understand if they're trying to save $2 million a year here and there. They've got stadium problems they've got to figure out. That there's a lot of things that on the football operations side that still need to get panned out. So you can't really blame them for trying to
move that along. The game, Man United, the second half is a team that I think we all United fans have wanted to see for a season. Good goals, good cross and finish for Garnacho's in the 47th, and a lovely chip and a little cheeky back heel by Bruno to Rasmus for his first. And it ended 2-1. The whole dry blood thing happened because De Ligt had this head injury sometime in the first half, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why they just wrap his damn head. because he had to be subbed off 3 or 4 times due to blood pouring down the side of his face. There's no, listen, was I mad that they happened to score right before the end of the half off a corner, right before he was sent back off for a third time to get the blood clean from his face? Yes. But I'd be more mad at the people trying to fix me up than like wrap the thing up or shove it with cotton ball. I don't give a shit what you do, but
Yeah.
going off the pitch 3 times to get blood clean from your face, because it's in the rules. You can't have, visible blood and that sort of thing. Is frustrating. Frustrating that they scored while he was in there, because he's a big center back that can defend those type
But
of
it's their own
corners.
fault for not taking care of it the first time.
Agreed. But good for United to come out in the second half, score some goals, and hopefully that can continue, because we have not seen a whole lot of that this season.
We were just back to the WWD where they do their little slice cut on their head and bleed all over the place.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Brighton get a big win on the road up north as they beat Newcastle 1-0 on the day, courtesy of a Danny Welbeck. Yep, he's still playing.
He's been their best player of the season so far. Unfortunately, got a pretty weird injury in this one that hopefully he's not out for too long.
He scores in the 35th minute. So now, gentlemen, up to 5th, which is where Brighton are. Fabian Hertzler has them going strong. Yes?
Oh, yeah.
I also think,
Fifth, quietly, they're doing a great job.
but I think you cannot combine that with the Newcastle's inability to get their feet under them like they ought to with the talent they have.
Yeah, and they dominated this game in terms of possession and pretty much any stat line. It was all like Newcastle way. But Danny Welbeck, so far on the season for Brighton, he's their leading goal scorer with 5 goals and an assist. Got a weird, like, no contact type back injury in this one. If he's going to be out for a period of time, that goal scoring, might hurt them a bit. But Brighton are still that kind of just gutty, just see out the game, organized, defensive minded, that they're still winning games. They're up to 5th, and we'll see if they can continue that. But Fabian Hertzler certainly has them playing very well.
I think they got to just be consistent. Right. And then I think the, top 5, top 6 is an achievable goal. Right. But they're still hemorrhaging goals. They 3-2 to Wolves, 0-0 to Ipswich. Right. And then they lose to Chelsea 4-2 in a wild match. But then they go ahead and they beat Brighton. Right. So, beat Tottenham. So I don't know. I think they need to get more consistent in their last 5, 2 draws, a loss, and 2 wins.
Yep. Agreed.
So cool though, man. Can you just imagine like a season that would end with like smaller, not the normal top clubs, but smaller clubs in the top like 6, like Villa, Brighton, and Chelsea.
Sure.
All right, moving on. And I can't, it's an audio medium, so I cannot put Ron's bird that he flipped me on this. Down to,
I can't be that mad though. Like we're a solid mid-table team.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna steal.
Not now. Well, no, you're in 6.
I'm gonna steal a little time from this next match just to say I think Chelsea could end in top 6 to top 4.
I think that they can end, and I think they can
like
end top 4, absolutely.
I think you're on the up, Ron. I don't know why though. Because
Exactly.
I am confused as to what's going on, because it still seems a mess, but somehow it's going good. So I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Down 2 at the half. Leicester complete a 30-ish minute second half comeback in the 98th minute of play against a struggling Southampton. Someday, Southampton will get another point, ?
That was in the 98th minute of play. Very late.
If we all say no, they'll get a point next week, is how so far that has gone for us this year. At what point? I know we ask this every year, but and I know that technically the Wolves are at the bottom, but I don't know, man.
That Flushing sound is Southampton.
Yeah, no, right? and you just implode from like the 60th minute on. Implode. Goal in the 61st. A red card in 73rd, pen in the 74th, and then you give up that very late goal for the game winner 3-2 out at the St. Mary's.
Guys, actually,
Can't hang on to it. Unbelievable.
guys, we all need to say that they won't get a next point.
They won't get a next point.
Say it, Ron. Say they won't. Trust me.
They get another point.
No, win. You gotta say no.
I don't think they will.
Oh, good. Because the last time we said that, they did, and they play Man City next. So that's what
I see it.
that's what's going on there. Which you know what? You watch. They'll fripping draw Man City until the 98th minute, and someone will nut one in for
John
Man
Stones.
City.
John
Yeah,
Stones
yeah.
will come
Yeah,
back
yeah.
for the third time.
Oh, we're about to get there. Don't worry.
Jeez. Oh, was that the end of the 2 minutes?
Before John Stones and the old nutting the ball in to the net, Everton get the job done on the road against the Tractor Boys as they win 2-0 at Portman Road. Don't look now, but Everton all the way up to 16th, gentlemen, and now opened up a 4-point gap over Ipswich.
Dude, when you get to say the phrase, how bad has Everton fallen? When you're like, they've opened the gap of a 4-point gap from Ipswich.
Right.
God, Everton, come on, guys. Like,
Yeah, but they won 4-point gap. They're up to 16th. They're not in the bottom 4 or 5 now. So come on, you got to give them some positivity.
There's a lot more going badly with Everton as a business than actually their on-field problems.
When their best goal scored of all season is by a center back, Michael Keane rocketed that thing in the top of net. That was a goal also, but then you beat Ipswich. I don't think we have a whole lot more to say.
Once again, John Stones from a corner bails out Man City in the dying, wheezing last gasp of exhalation in the game. This time, a 95th minute of play to complete their comeback against Wolves, of all people, of all teams. 2-1, it ends. Was that the corner? Was that the correct no offside call by Bernardo Silva at the end of the game on the winning goal?
I'm telling you, Southampton's going to do the same thing because it was just the Wolves. But anyway.
I think it was. I didn't see it in real time that way, but you saw the Wolves manager, Gary O'Neill, not Gary O'Neill. Was it Gary O'Neill? Anyways, whatever his name is, came storming out, and the ref's like, we saw, but it went over to VAR, and from the angle, looking at the goal, clearly was not in the in a sight or blocking that ball from going in, but it's somehow Man City, John Stones, just do it again. It's like these are the kind of those things that they're just hanging on each week, and they're doing what a team of their caliber that have won the Premier League past 4 seasons in a row. Just
do you think they're
never
just bored? Do you think they're just bored, and so now they're saying, "Hey, let's go a goal down before we really start trying"?
Ron, I was so close to saying something very similar where I was like, you remember we said like, hey, they've won a bunch, they did this, they did that, they did whatever. Like, this could be the year, like, it's hard to fire them up. Well, you know what? Yeah, they're bored. This is the year that it's hard to fire them up. So this is them not fired up. Oh, yeah, there's still someone that hasn't done something on the bench. Just put them out there. They'll score.
Well, what's weird is that almost them trying. 78% possession. 22 total shots to 3. However, Wolves had 2 big chances. Man City had 0.
And those came off of, I have never seen a team, well, I should say I rarely have seen a team that was so well structured on counters against a Manchester City side, where they had clean breakaways, clean looks at goal without, one of the reasons being Walker came back from international duty injured, so he didn't play in this match.
Mm-hmm. No De Bruyne in this either.
So that is a part of it. But I think Gary O'Neill really set them up well for that counter, and had they not switched off for the most minorest of seconds, they could have taken that home.
Right. Yeah. Whatever.
Ferris gives Blake an early birthday with giving me this one. Nothing quite like Monday Wood, his pod favorite. Chris Wood nuts his 5th of the young season for nutting him Forrest, as his one-night stand lone goal is enough for Forrest to collect all 3 points. And we've noticed that he is in the race for the Golden Boot. And my word, I need that man to win it so that Ferris, I just want to see the headline Ferris is going to write.
2 minutes, 12, nothing but just headline after headline of Wood. We love us some good Wood, don't we?
We do. We
That
do.
man keeps delivering. It's nothing like, a long day at work. It's Monday. We're doing Grinchmas fittings, just whatever. Get back to my computer. Oh, yeah, there's a Premier League game on today. Let's see the score. Oh, the only goal Wood. Instant smile on my face.
I mean,
God, we're adults.
what more could you want, man?
Exactly.
Cold beer and some wood in the net. There you go. My goodness, that was too much fun. Oh, look, that brought us to halftime, where it's time for Count Ronald's beer news, all of the news that's fit to drink.
Gentlemen, you know what time of year it is?
I think I've got an idea.
Well, 2 weeks ago, the Great American Beer Festival was held.
Right.
It's that time of year again.
Well, you
How
got me.
tactical when I saw some of their folks were going.
The 38th edition of the Great American Beer Festival. Gentlemen, get ready for the stats. I love a good stat when it comes to a beer festival.
Who doesn't?
Here we go. 8,836 beers judged. That's insane.
That's a lot of beer.
It's up 18% from last year.
You
Let's
serious?
go.
18% for
Who
all
says
you
the craft beer
statistic
world's
nerds.
dying?
You serious, Clark?
1,869 breweries. Excuse me. 1,869 breweries and cideries in the competition from all 50 states, plus DC and Puerto Rico. Cideries, did you say? Yes. Cider was officially added as one of the beverages to be judged this year. First time. 285 judges, 250 plus volunteers. Average number of beers entered in each category. Gentlemen, 85. The category with the highest number was category 102, 349 entries. Gentlemen, what was the category?
349 entries, the biggest category.
Lager.
You're
Okay,
way off.
Okay, so can you?
Lager's been making a comeback.
You don't have to say what. I won't even use IPA as an example, but like, are stouts and like imperial stouts a separate category, or would you call that all one in this question?
Imperials will be different.
Okay,
Oh, damn.
then I'm gonna say, God, it's always IPA something, but will it be specific, like a West Coast IPA? I'm gonna go New England IPA. I'm gonna make that vote. That's been
I'll go hazy.
Juicy / hazy IPA.
Yeah, my second
Wait,
guess.
but that makes you and I both right? I mean, that's the New England
Sure.
IPA. It's juicy.
We're both winners. Just like
Yeah.
two-minute drills this week and 2 beers we're about to have. We're both winners.
326 medals awarded, 273 medal winning breweries, 280 first time Great American Beer Festival competition entrants, and 25 first time competition winners.
Pardon me, I do need to interject one thing. New England IPAs are beers that are purposely hazy or cloudy. So I'm just saying, we definitely
Purposely. Nope,
both
nope,
right.
We won. We split the points.
Just want to make sure that we know the world knows we're brilliant.
But it is a different category. It is
Whatever.
not the same.
According to them.
according to the Great American
Oh,
Beer
but
Festival.
not according to the Brewtiful Game has 244 episodes and a 3.5-star Apple rating.
I mean, the internet says this is what a New England IPA is, so I don't know if I trust Great American Beer Festival. Who the hell are they?
That's fair. That's fair.
Fake
It's
news.
Only the
Just a few
Homebrewers.
amateurs on
It's
there.
only the Brewers Association of the world.
Follow the money, Ron. Follow the money.
Yeah,
Who's
right.
behind
There
it
you
all?
Yep, true story.
Who
So,
won? Anybody cool won?
A host of fun breweries. I'll give you the top 5 most entered beer style category winners.
Okay.
Then we'll move on because we have a lot to cover in the next portion.
And we have our own beer to get to next, too.
Category 102, Juicy Hazy IPA. Gold was Professional Human Being by Ambitious Ales of Long Beach, California. Silver was awarded to Groundswell from Single Hill Brewing in Yakima, Washington.
I'll be darned.
And then bronze was given to Crash of Rhinos from Movement Brewing Company in Rancho Cordova, California. They were actually a winner last year. Category 100, West Coast IPA, had 292 entries. Gold was Codebreaker from Trademark Brewing in Long Beach. Silver from Pacific Portal, and that's Alma Mater Brewing in Kansas City, Missouri. And the best name of the whole IPA category, in my opinion, wins bronze. IPA for Aliens, Masthead Brewing in Cleveland, Ohio.
Well done.
I feel like you're leaving out some stats, though, because I went to their website. I need to know the stats of how many women's wrestlers were involved. I see that also there was a twist, there was a thriller dance that happened out somewhere. There's some fun stuff went on this go round.
We
Beetlejuice.
got to go to one. We haven't been
absolutely.
to one yet. We've got to get press for that. American style IPA, 217 entries. Gold for competition from Highland Park Brewery, their Chinatown version in Los Angeles, California. Silver, One Way from Old Kaz Beer in Roanoke Park, California. And bronze, Lexical Gap, Pollyanna Brewing in Lamont, Illinois. Dortmunder or German style Oktoberfest had 210 entries.
I love
Gentlemen,
Dortmunder.
how cool is that? That Dortmunders and Oktoberfest is in the top 5 for most
That's awesome.
beer entries. It had 210. Gold was the Fest beer from Glenwood Canyon Brewing in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. Fest beer for Northwoods Brewing Company in Northwood, New Hampshire, which, Blake, you are within driving distance of.
Thank you. That sounds like a plan to me. Was that
Right?
2 hours away?
The Cushman from Morgan Territory Brewing in Tracy, California. And then the last most popular category, German style Marzen, 195 entries from Pleasant Brow Oktoberfest, Soul Brewing in Pleasantville, New York, also within driving distance of Senor Blake.
If I would take a step back from the things you're throwing out about the categories, I would say it's indicative that American craft brews growing up, right? In the early days, you go nuts and do all these crazy things, right? Because you're just experimenting. And now to have Oktoberfest and Marzens on those top lists.
A lot of styles, yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
A lot of known styles and just more not getting crazy, just sticking with styles that we've had for years and years.
Yeah, but hard to perfect things, you know? Yeah.
Correct. The 2 most medaled breweries are Apogee Brewing Company from Grover Beach, California, and Highland Park Brewery in Chinatown, Los Angeles.
California on there a lot, man.
Yeah. California, Ohio, and Oregon were the top 3 states for winners.
There you go.
So there you go. You
Did-
can
Anybody, this just occurred to me, not to be a bummer, but I wonder if any breweries from Western Carolina ended up competing at all this year. I'm going to look that up.
hold on. I'll
Yeah.
tell you right now.
We have a beer from out there. Our next beer.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a very well known company.
Well, it was supposed to filter. However, it doesn't look like it did.
Yeah, it's wild. I just looked up a drive over there for something
There
for
we go.
my family, and to see how long it will take because of those roads is crazy.
4, Crank Arm Brewing Company, Protagonist Brewing, Whistle Hop Brewing Company, and Legion Brewing Company. One of them, Crank Arm Brewing, won a silver for Whitehall Wheat, and they're from Raleigh, North Carolina. The next one in two of them in Charlotte. One is Protagonist Brewing Company, and the other one's Legion Brewing Company. They won gold medals for a classic saison and a stout, respectively. And then Whistle Hop Brewing Company from Fairview, North Carolina, won a gold for a smoke beer.
Ron, I'm gonna deviate you to memory lane for a hot second. You said Raleigh, North Carolina. Do you remember the last time you and I were in Raleigh and we met my dad at a restaurant? Was it the Twisted Kilt or whatever, or the Tilted Kilt?
Tilted Kilt.
It was like it was like a place that was nearby the hotel. We were working on a gig and Dad met us there. And we just wanted to eat some wings and talk with each other because we hadn't seen each other in a while. And the waitress kept coming over to like flirt. And my dad was getting so, he was like, we just want to talk. We're just trying to hang out.
It's hilarious.
Oh my God. Damn, that's a friggin' flashback. I haven't thought about that joint in forever.
Yeah, that was quite a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, it was. And we found that cool brewery that had like the bombshell art. I don't know what that was in that warehouse district over there. So I need to go back home and do some research.
What was that?
You remember what I'm talking about though, right?
Yeah.
Was it bombshell brewing? I don't know.
Trucks out front.
Yeah, yep.
What were we doing there?
We were working a gig. Was it Lizard Lick?
Oh, right.
Oh, you've shared that on the pod.
Yeah, we worked on Lizard Lick on the stunt and effect side of things. Yeah. On the reality show.
Yeah. In which I was quite so angry that so I was effects coordinator on that job. Blake and another friend were helping us out. And I was so mad on that movie set that in front of the entire crew, I screamed across, Blake, Jonathan, pack it up. We're going the home.
It was amazing.
That was quite a job.
And I was right.
And then we did that show 3 more times? 4 more times?
I was right, by the way. If you'll check your text thread, it was Bombshell Brewing. Holly Springs, North Carolina, just outside of Raleigh.
Heck yeah.
Cool.
That was that had some good beer in it.
Looks like it's still doing good.
Anyway, that's the end of your beer news, gents.
Lovely. We'll stay in North Carolina, though.
Yeah?
Yeah, from Mills River, North Carolina. This is the last one that friend of the pod, Caitlin, brought back. It's in Sierra Nevada. This is the Norwal, but it's new because it's barrel-aged Norwal.
Oh, that means the ABV is going to
Which
be...
brings this bad boy up to
Yeah.
old 11.9%, 55 IBU stout. We sent our original Norwal Imperial Stout into bourbon barrel hibernation. After nearly a year, Norwal rises from the dark depths of our cellar, transformed with notes of oak, vanilla, coconut, layered onto stouts, malt flavors of dark chocolate and espresso. It's all in the barrel-aged beauty sleep.
Love it. Let's do it.
Well,
Split.
I've also got a second drink.
But wait a minute, it's a little different this time. It is not the Halloween themed, but it is fun.
I'm going to swing a little different. I went to go visit the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair in Manheim, PA a couple of weekends ago, where Ron and I first met doing fights and all that jazz. And they've now added a distillery to... they have a brewery there, and their beer was in the can was all sold out, so I couldn't bring that back. But they do have a distillery. It's the Spirits Distilling Company, and they are making like the mixed cocktails in a drink you've seen, or in a can you've seen.
Oh, yeah, like gin and tonics in a can,
Yep.
or
other. They have a peach tea whiskey cooler, a classic mojito, the bee's knees, which is like a gin and tonic and honey one. But the one I have is the blackberry bourbon smash. made with bourbon whiskey with the juicy flavors of blackberries. But importantly, I snagged this because it won the 2024 International Spirits Competition double gold winner in its competition.
What does double gold mean?
I was trying to look that up because it was a here it is. Like Staple Gin won a double gold competition. I don't understand what double gold means. If you go, you can kind of look on the competitions, on the websites and sort of see what the different offerings are. The International Spirits Competition, which looks like it's held in New York. New York International Spirits Competition. And it won like Ugadile Scotch whiskey won a double gold. I mean, that's good. I feel like if you manage to, I mean, obviously this is like a mixed cocktail, right? It's not the liquor, right? What that would be judged by, but, and if you go to the New York International Spirits Competition, you can see the 1,400 submissions, 39 countries, 50 categories. They even have a price category. So you can kind of look that up, but yeah, this is their blackberry bourbon smash, which I've had their 2-year aged cask aged bourbon, and it is not bad. It was actually quite a decent little bourbon, I thought. So anyway, I have this blackberry bourbon smash to give a go. You might call it a monster smash. Ha ha ha. There you go.
Heck yeah.
You might not. Cheers.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Ooh.
Well, that's just dangerous. Woof.
You taste all of that and you smell all 11% of that.
It's good.
So
it's real good.
Well, really, that is, you kind of want to get one and hold on to that for a couple of years,
right? Let it
try
age.
it. Yeah, this is really good. I mean, it's bourbon and blackberries. It's kind of tastes exactly like what it sounds like. It's good, or tastes exactly what it's described as. It's tasty. It would be dangerous on a hot pool day. You would pound these.
This is a beer for laying down and avoiding.
For lying down and avoiding.
This crack one open with your breakfast on a Premier League morning.
Yes.
And just
call there.
Put your feet up and let the rest of your day go by.
Or I was thinking on a nice crisp night outside, sitting outside on a porch or something, or by a fire having this. Heck yeah. All very good. No, very, very good. And this barrel aged, Ron said it perfectly. You taste and you smell all 11.9%, but it's smooth and good, and everything you want in what is a barrel aged imperial stout.
Oh, I was scared again. I thought it was the Belmonts from Castlevania, but they are here to remind us that it is time for the LaLeague's roundup. Wait, I was supposed to say halftime is over. I screwed that up. But
did you even blow the whistle for the beginning?
I did for the first one. Weird as a surprise. It scared me like a jump scare. We have a second round of 2-minute drills, but this time it's part of the LaLeague's roundup with 2-minute drills. That's right. There's more sound effects than you've ever thought coming at you on this one.
Give me a good burp for just old time's sake.
It's twice the sound effects too. Oh, I'm first up. All right. You know what? You love it. It's double dose of our 2-minute drill. We're going to start with the Orlando Pride, who just a few weeks ago clinched their first ever NWSL Shield, gentlemen. And they defeated the second place team, Washington Spirit, 2-0 to do it at home here in Orlando.
It was awesome.
What a friggin' night.
Oh, it was fun, man. It was a blast. It was just great to see this team. I mean, it has been a rough 8-9 years of their existence. Only been in the playoffs like twice. Never hosted a playoff game. That's going to change.
Yep. 2
Fridays from now. Very excited for that. We'll get to it. We don't know who they're going to play yet, but what a fun night. A little bit of like a cloudy, rainy night.
The perfect misty kind of rain.
Yep.
Keep the ball moving slick and fast. Oh,
absolutely. And to beat the second place team. Now, with that said, they've since gave up their unbeaten season. They've lost the past 2 now. in a row. So a little bit of a downward, but still clinch the Shield, clinch that top spot. Hopefully they can win the last game of the season and then roll into the playoffs with some momentum that have carried us throughout the regular season. But this Pride team is just something special. A lot of fun to watch them. You can tell how much they work for each other, how much they're for each other, what it means to the fans, what it meant to Arta, who has been with this club for a very long time now and stuck it out when some others have left. And there's been this new head coaches and organizational change and all of that have kind of restructured this team. And you can just tell from her speech afterwards. You get a chance to go on the WSL site or YouTube and just see her speech and what it means to her to bring this first piece of silverware into WSL here. It's
can I just
awesome.
Take a moment to say that not only is she a top class soccer player, but she has also got a razor sharp wit.
Oh, her speeches are amazing. See, you should see her speech. How many of these has she given or written? Like a thing in an article. She's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Her book or her letters to herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
right?
that one.
Were incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But the Portland Thorns basically write a tweet that says, records are meant to be broken.
Because they beat us that very next game.
And then they said, thanks for coming, Orlando. And they capitalized the L in Orlando, signifying that we lost. And Marta tweeted back like a minute later, have fun looking for a spot in the playoffs. And I just thought, how perfect.
Boom.
Which perfect segue. That takes us to our next headline, Ron.
So 6 teams in the NWSL have clinched playoff spots so far. With 1 match week left, there are 3 teams fighting it out for the final 7th and 8th playoff spots. They are Portland and Bay FC, who are both tied on 31 points in 7th and 8th respectively, with Racing Louisville just 3 points behind them on 28. So in 2 weeks, who do we have making the playoffs? That's the question.
It comes down to also who these teams play, right? Coming up here, Portland Thorns will get the first crack of it on Friday, November 1st. They're on a little bit of an international break as the U.S. team's going to play here a few games over the next week and a half. Portland will host in what will be Christine Sinclair's last regular season home game at Portland against Angel City. They should win that, which means they win that, they'll probably end in that 7th spot. Now, Bay FC take on the Houston Dash. Houston Dash at home down in Texas, so a good hike for them. Dash, while bottom of the table, if I'm not mistaken, have not been an easy team just to roll over. So, that's an interesting one. Racing Louisville have San Diego Wave in San Diego. Again, another cross country run. They're the last ones to play. So Racing Louisville will know by the time they play on Sunday the 3rd whether or not they are in or out. Because if Bay wins and Portland wins, they're done for.
I think that's going to be the scenario. Portland and Bay.
I think so too. But if Bay, if Bay loses, if Bay draws, they're okay. But if Bay loses, that opens the door for Louisville to come in because Louisville does have a better goal difference, only on -4, where Bay has -11. But I think you're right, Ron. I think it's going to end the same way. Portland Thorns, and then Bay FC, which means that the Orlando Pride 2 Fridays from now will probably take on Bay FC.
Bring it.
This feels so good.
And the less desirable league in the U.S., but nonetheless, we're going to move over to the MLS. And good luck figuring out their playoff thing. I think one's kicking off here in just a few, if I'm not mistaken.
There's no playoff. I think Inter Miami just gets it.
Oh, no, that's right. You're correct. And they're going to be shown about 7 different times on everything. And if Messi decides he wants to step onto the pitch, we'll get an alert. If he decides that he wants to play a 2-yard pass, we're going to get an alert saying, oh, my God, that was the most spectacular pass we've ever seen in our damn life. So we love this Argentinian. We think he's the best. We're going to give him everything. We're going to get his big out of off. Anyways. And half of his salary is being paid by who? Apple TV. Look at that. Bring up the thing, and it's the first thing that I show on here.
That's true.
Damn it. Anyways, The game that's actually being played tonight is not Messi. It's Vancouver Whitecaps and the Portland Timbers in that playing game. Anyways, I don't even know what my headline is because I got off on tangent. Inter Miami did win and clinch the Supporters Shield and on a record-setting 74 points and a Leo Messi hat trick in the last game of the season. But it's deserved, all things considered. And decision day was wild. Absolutely wild. The Galaxy were going to win the West, and then a late goal by the Houston Dynamo dropped them down, allowed LAFC, their crosstown rivals, to nip that spot. Anyways, decision day was wild. So we're now all set for the playoffs to start this weekend. As I just said, the playoff game tonight is Vancouver hosting Portland. Kicks off 10:30. So just kicked off here on the East Coast. Yesterday, Montreal and Atlanta in the East Coast playoff game went 2-2 and went to Pens and was won 5-4 on Pens by Atlanta. Atlanta got in by beating us here in Orlando 2-1, getting a lot of help with that because they needed 3 or 4 other teams to drop points, and sure did they, including DC, including Philadelphia Union, and it all worked. And they almost didn't. They were a VAR call away, a questionable VAR call at that. Very questionable call at that. Had that game tied, they would not be in. But nonetheless, they're there, and they get to play Inter Miami in the first playoff game.
Would it be the only time that I'd be excited for Atlanta to win?
Which then, if they do, and we beat Charlotte, which our first game is this Sunday here in Orlando, then we would take on Miami or Atlanta. If we win, we take on one of our 2 biggest rivals. How fun is that? But we got to play 3 games first, or 2 games first. Remember the whole thing last year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's the first round games is this three rounds.
It's a best of 3
round, or whatever the hell it is, best of 3 in soccer. That makes zero sense because games are 90 minutes and whatever. And anyways, so those are your first 2 best of 3 here on the East Coast. You also have Cincinnati taking on NYCFC, with Cincinnati being the higher seed there. Then you have the Columbus Crew, who won it all last season, taking on New York Red Bulls. Those games are all played on the 25th, 27th, 28th, and 29th. Boom, 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 boom. And then we'll see who wins that one. Then we go second game and third game. Over on the West, similar things. So whoever wins tonight between Vancouver and Portland, they'll take on LAFC, the Shield winners. And that'll be on the 27th. And then on the 28th, Seattle takes on Houston. Seattle just always find their way in there. Really hasn't had that great of a year, but they kind of came on late, and they're up there with a pretty good seed.
They always just get warm at the right time of the season.
Mm-hmm. Then you have RSL in Minnesota, which really should be a really fun matchup out there on the West. I could see that going all 3 games. But their first game is 10:29. And then on 10:26, you have the Galaxy taking on Colorado. Colorado haven't been able to get out of their own way here in the past few weeks. They have not played great, but they have a chance here to knock off the Galaxy, who are certainly favorites in that. After those 3 games, then we go into the single semifinals and then conference and so on and so forth. But the MLS playoffs kick off this week. This Friday, I believe, right? Is it the 25th this Friday? Yeah, that's 2 days from now. So Miami or Atlanta advanced on 10:22, and they get to play Miami on 10:25 in their first game. So head over to MLS Soccer. I'm going to keep doing it to soccer.com.
Hey, you're not listening to the ref blowing the whistle. He says you get a yellow flag because you went way over the 2-minute drill.
And I get all that VAR red card sending off for speaking bad of Messi.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Our entire podcast is going to get deleted off of Apple. Oh, God. It's going to get deleted right off of Apple Podcasts. Mm-hmm. Oh, no. They'll pick us up with their AI reader bots. We're in trouble. Yeah. Well, let's keep talking about the good old USA in terms of Captain America himself, Christian Pulisic. May have left the U.S. camp early and before the Mexico game, but he is killing it in Italy and has easily been AC Milan's best player of the season so far by a large stretch. So much so that Milan fans are calling him to be captain. Captain America and Captain Italiano both have great rings to it. Pulisic, Milan, U.S. men's national team, Poch, all the above. Let's discuss.
I mean,
It's been a wild kind of weeks here.
I'm happy that so before AC Milan, he was a Chelsea player getting no time. I'm glad he moved on because U.S. men's national team needs him to have substantial minutes and needs him to be in form.
And he is. He's played pretty much every game. He scored midweek in Champions League. We'll get to in a second. But just in the Serie A alone, 5 goals, 3 assists out of 8 starts. That is a point in every single game.
Yeah. Poch. I think basically it's too early to tell.
Yeah.
He's just sussing out exactly what talent he has and where the chemistry is, right?
And he essentially said that after, a loss down there to Mexico. Basically said that, asked for, hey, be patient. Allow me to kind of get in here, allow us to get some things going. There's 20-some games between now and the World Cup. We're not seeing it all. A lot of our starters weren't there at the first game, nor were they there at the second game. Yes, they were sent home, not because of injury or so on and so forth. So
there's also no need to exercise them, right? If you already know them as a quantity, right? He knows Christian Pulisic, right? He doesn't need to keep him there and possibly get him injured for, the USA rivalry match against Mexico, and then send him injured back to AC Milan.
Right, and he got a chance in that Mexico to see some players that may not get that opportunity to play down in Mexico against Mexico. It's not seeing the players to your point, Ron, that we already know. It's seeing your Tanner Tessmans, your Austin Trusties, your Adian Morrises, your Alexander Zadehases, your Malik Tillman. You're seeing those names that you usually would not see in the lineup, how they go about that game. So, yeah, you are accurate and correct in that.
Oh, sorry.
Go back to the NWSL.
Do you want to? Really? This is a rough one.
Well, yeah, once we get down there, it's interesting.
First, it would be remiss of me if I were not to heap some love and praise onto the chocolate milk goddess and wish her the best of luck in her retirement.
What a career.
A brilliant career by the chocolate milk goddess. And if you don't know who the chocolate milk goddess is, we're not going to tell you. You got to go look it up because she's one of the best U.S. women's national team to ever strap on the boots.
And she, in her going away game the past weekend where they beat the Pride, she was in the stands, but all of the U.S. women's national team superstars got to sit up there with her and watch, and just kind of, they're all wearing shirts and just gave her a hell of a send off.
Yeah. So happy for her. Just the greatest of goofballs.
She is.
You can go on her Instagram, and she has a blooper reel of all her practice screw-ups where she ran into training dummies, and it's awesome. You got to go check it out. But secondly, gentlemen, in our chat, we've been kind of talking about this before the official announcement came out, going, what? The announcement of the Boston expansion / returning to the NWSL team last week, so maybe 10 days ago, they not only released their new name and new branding, new club name, but they also released their first public apology.
That was right out of the gate almost.
Boss Nation FC is the name. Yeah, I can barely even say it. You heard it right. And it's here, and here's their apology for their, quote, too many balls branding campaign.
What? There's not somebody smarter in the room from a marketing common sense that goes, listen, we're doing a women's team here that we're bringing back to the Boston area. and our main slogan is going to be too many balls. Just nobody can fathom that may not play, well out there.
So the exact quote in the marketing campaign is old balls, new balls, steel balls, cold balls, even goat ball. Yeah, Boston loves its balls, but maybe there's too many balls. So, I mean, I get what they were going for, right? Goat balls being
Brady.
NFL and Tom Brady, right? So they're trying to talk about all the other sports that use balls, but
Hockey uses a puck.
It was really weird,
Extremely weird.
So they basically should have apologized for the name of their club too, because that's terrible.
100%.
Yeah, forget like whatever crudeness you want to attach to it. Hey, we're announcing an NWSL expansion, so let's make the advertisement all about male genital men. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
it was weird.
Exactly.
It just like I understand. There's a way to. I understand it's hard to like crack through on marketing, right? There's a way to make this joke, I think. I don't have it off the top of my tongue, but there's a way to take this into the workshop and go, we want to say something about it and craft the message that would still be funny, and whatever. It's
not your main right out of the gate. You're making shirts. They had to pull the shirts that said too many balls off of buying them. So if you bought one of those,
they're worth
and
so
you
much.
don't want it, and you want to send it to us, we will proudly rep it like that. That is you just got like a rarity there. But
can you just imagine the songs we're gonna sing, like the chants of too many balls, but not in the back of your net or whatever?
So first, you're sinking all this money into a team, and the first thing you do is call it Boss Nation, which is supposed to be some sort of shortened mashup for Bostonian. But you could have just called them the Bostonians, and that would have made more sense than Boss Nation.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's terrible. So they come out with an apology the next day, and I quote, while we had hoped to create a bold and buzzworthy brand launch campaign, we missed the mark.
No.
We fully acknowledge that the content of the campaign did not reflect the safe and welcoming environment we strive to create for all, and we apologize to the LGBTQ plus community and the trans community in particular for the hurt we caused. We are proud to be a part of the most inclusive sports league in the world, and we're committed to upholding the unifying values that define the NWSL and our club. Thank you to all who have held us accountable by calling for us to do better. We hear you and we will, together.
A good statement, all things considered.
You're not doing together.
But you also only
have to get better. No one else has to get better.
Yes, no, that's very true.
You also only get one chance to make a first impression. Just going to say that.
Yeah, nope. You know what? Just hit it right there, Blake, because that is a great way of saying that.
Oh, I almost started to read yours, Ferris. That's yours.
Across the pond we go to the Champions League, as it returned this past week, almost a month later. Last time they played was October 1st and 2nd, but handful of games this week. I'll quickly go through some of just the big results. Milan beat Club Bruges. Christian Pulisic scored in the first, and guess who was in attendance in that one? Friend of the pod, Phil, at the San Siro for a Champions League game.
Oh, yeah.
I knew he was in Italy. I just didn't know
he was able to snag him. Just the perfect timing. How cool is that? I got to see Captain America score in Italy.
Yeah.
So cool. But they won 3-1 over Bruges. PSG and PSV tied 1-1. Juventus, with a red card, lost to Stuttgart 1-0. Monaco crushed whoever they served. It sounds like a damn beer. Aston Villa, as we said, top of the table 2-0, and I believe John Duran scored in that one as well. Duran.
Superman.
Mm-hmm. Arsenal beat Shakhtar 1-0. Girona 1-2-0, Sporting 1-2-0, and Real Madrid second half comeback. I was so happy for this one. I saw an alert coming across that like Dortmund are doing so well, and the second half they just completely the bed because they 5-2
to Bayern,
Real Madrid, who they lost to in the Champions League final last season.
Correct.
But then you go on to Wednesday.
I was going to say though, all the stuff was. Any other team does this and the world will freak out. But Real Madrid makes that comeback. And everyone's like, well, I mean, I guess it's Real Madrid in the Champions League again.
Exactly. Today, Man City won 5-0 against Sparta Prague. I mean, okay. Great for them. Barca put a smackdown on Bayern Munich, though. 4-1. Wild.
Harry Kane had 2 goals called back in that?
Yep,
which
like
is
that.
Hilarious.
Yep.
You can't take the Spurs out the boy. I'm going to write that bluegrass song.
You totally have to.
Lille 3-1 against Atleti. I believe that was at Atleti, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it was. That's a surprise against a Diego Simeone team in the Champions League. Liverpool beat RB Leipzig 1-0. Leverkusen and Brest 1-1. Feyenoord beat Benfica 3-1. And Inter beat Young Boys 1-0. So where does that put us in the table? What, you say? Yes. The Champions League this season went to a league phase table. Here's how it's set up so far. You have 3 Premier League clubs, 1, 2, and 3 in the table. Aston Villa 1 on 9 points, tied with Liverpool in second on 9 points. Goal difference, Aston Villa scored 1. So is it very similar to your normal tables? Man City third. Now, the top 8, if I'm not mistaken, get straight to the round of 16. So to finish out that top 8, Monaco in 4th, Brest in 5th, Leverkusen in 6th, Inter Milan in 7th, and Sporting in 8th. Right now, 9 through 24 would be a knockout phase playoff places. You must be taking this from the MLS.
I was going to say, is the MLS advising on this now?
But in 9th, you have, I'll just go in order from here because you have some big names just from 9th to 12th. You have Arsenal, Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund, Real Madrid. All of this is after match week 3. Then from 13th through 24, you have Benfica, Juventus, Lille, Feyenoord, Atalanta, Stuttgart, PSG, Celtic, Sparta Prague, Dynamo, Bayern Munich, Girona. Bayern Munich and Girona, 23 and 24 on the table, almost in the places to where they would be eliminated from even going any further. Those places are 25th through 36. And I won't go through all the teams in here, but a big name or 2 big names that are only on 3 points, but very bad goal difference, which is putting them in that place, is in 25th. So right there on the cusp is AC Milan, as they've lost their first 2, but 1. So it must be a Phil thing. He just needs to go back there every time, win, obviously. Atletico Madrid in 27th. They won their first 1, but have lost their last 2. So it's an interesting kind of thing they're doing this year. You get a lot of games on each of the day now. You get a lot of games quickly, or at least it seems like it's more games than normal. Where last time they were kind of splitting them up between 2 other weeks. You're trying to get a lot of games here. They're all playing, I think, 2 more games when it's all said and done because of the pots that they were in that we tried to explain several pots back. But this league phase is going to be something to keep an eye on going forward in a way here where it's a different league, but it's still fun. So get on that Paramount Plus and watch the Champions League as we go forward. And that has been your LeagueA's Roundup.
We'll see what happens as the injuries mount up with extra games.
Yeah, right.
All right, ladies and jelly spoons, that brings us towards the end of our pod. Of course, our beers for this episode, give a quick beer mention. I had from Dogfish Head Brewing, the Pumpkin Ale, and from Spirits Distilling Company in Manheim, PA, I had the Blackberry Bourbon Smash.
And we had from Three Daughters in St. Pete, Florida, Oktoberfest Marzen darn good. And then what we're sipping on right now to finish off the night, we are having from Sierra Nevada out of North Carolina, their brewery there, the Narwhal Barrel Aged Imperial Stout.
Did I tell you guys about, this isn't a dad joke, but it is a joke. Did I tell you guys, I'm doing the Red Dwarf pod with our buddy Lee about the old Red Dwarf BBC show.
Shameless promotion.
No, but did I mention, because we've been doing a rewatch, basically, talking through each episode. This is a British show from the late 80s, early 90s about the sci-fi sitcom, basically. Did I tell you about the Tottenham joke that was in it?
No.
I haven't seen this stuff since I was a kid, which is why we're having fun with it, right? I remember loving this show. I've seen some episodes here and there, later in life, but to honestly sit back, especially the early ones, and rewatch, and I was losing it because there's this computer that's played by a guy who's like a head in the TV, basically, right? As he's talking, and named Holly, and he's got this thick accent. He's like, "Hello, dudes, what's happening?" And he's like the ship's AI. And he gets accused of being a bad computer, and I nearly fell off my couch, spitting beer out my nose, because this would have meant nothing to me as a 10-year-old watching this. But they're like, you've done this, you put the ship at so-and-so, and you're just not that smart anymore. And he's like, what? That's a load of Tottenham, that is. That's a steaming pile of Hotspur. And I rolled out of the thing laughing. Performed by Norman Lovett. Completely cracked my stuff up. If you don't know Red Dwarf, go watch it. But I was like, man, I loved this show as a kid. No clue that there was a smashing Red Dwarf or Tottenham joke right in the middle of it.
Nice.
1989, I think that particular joke would have been in. And yeah, I guess a shameless plug. That's not what it was intended to be, but there you go. Ferris, from your upcoming pod, all the things that are great about the god of soccer, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Do you have a quote from Zlatan?
Even kind of involves Cristiano Ronaldo, because he was asked in this. I'm going to keep going back to the athletic article from the New York Times, but they was kind of asked, did you watch Cristiano Ronaldo during the European Championship this summer? The Portuguese icon appeared just tormented by limitations and stuff before our time, but Zlatan smiled and he goes, depends on the person. Zlatan says, diplomatically, I didn't need to score one goal more or one goal less. It would not change my career. It was more about preparing the future for the other ones, because I believe this young generation needs a leader to follow. If you don't have examples, especially when you're playing at great clubs, who will show you the way? God, he's so insightful.
It's like a Yoda, but meaner. I'm not sure. Yeah. You're like,
yeah. But he's not being mean. He's just cutting through the BS.
He's cutting the
not
BS.
Worried about your feelings.
But he's also saying, and I am that leader.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what makes it work.
Did you guys see on his Instagram, he has a reel of people screwing up soccer things, and then his reaction to it?
No.
It's quite entertaining.
I have to go to the look at that one.
Sounds
That's
like a whole web series for Ferris to go down the whole
It's
one.
brilliant.
Follow us on the socials. Follow us on the Untapped. Our website, thebrewtifulgame.com. If you can, leave us a rating and review. Tell your friends about us. If you do a rating and review, let us know. Drop us a line. We'll get you something fun in the mail.
And tell your grandmas.
And tell your grandmas and your aunts. I've heard great uncles are into this show as well. And then last but not least, let's leave things off on a spooky note. Why don't mummies take time off? They're afraid to unwind. What kind of ship does my buddy Dracula have? A blood vessel. You like?
See what you did there?
I thought you would appreciate. Also, what we do in the Shadows has come back for third season, and I'm trying to do a bad Nandor. I'm not good at it, but there it is. All right, gentlemen, love the beer, cherish the game, the Brewtiful Game.